Hello guys, this is my part 3 of my story. It gets easier as it goes to tell it. So I left you off with taking a shipment to the house and all the products that were involved in being able to handle such a large amount of cocaine and basically divvy it out. And the gist behind it is what they do is they use baking soda and scales and they cut it down. So at the time, the drugs that were in the house were the highest street value that were actually on the street. There was nothing higher than that. It was like 87% pure cocaine, like the most pure cocaine that you can ever get. And it was highly addictive. And they would cut it down and, you know, make people believe they were getting a pure product, and they weren't. They were getting a cut down product, and then she would take half of the product that she cut down and she would save it for herself. And she'd be cracked out of her mind on cocaine, and they'd give her like $1,000 a week or $1,500 a week to hold the product at the house. And it got to the point where we had 17 kilos of cocaine at one time. So I had been playing the adulting card as a child for years. It started me off early, taking care of the babies and stuff, and cooking dinner, cleaning the house. I mean, it got to the point where I was doing everything for years. I mean, and I didn't start she didn't actually start beating on me or anything until she pulled me out of school when I was about, I mean, she beat on me a little bit before that, but I really started getting beat on probably around 10 years old. And at that time, she had this old man living with her, and come to find out, this old man was basically the right-hand man of her grandfather. And her grandfather that she had a kid by, he was the big drug kingpin in the Chicago area, like the Irish Mafia or something like that. And they were smuggling drugs out of Juarez, Mexico. And I remember there were times where he would dig a hole in the yard, and he'd put $100,000 worth of cash in a hole and cover it back up, just so he had somewhere back to go, knew where his money was at. They opened a second-hand store in Chicago, like a resale store, and basically used it as cover to run their operation. And they were raided so many times. I think the FBI and the police actually knew what was going on. It was just really hard to catch him doing it. And they never really caught him. I mean, he kept doing it. And so basically what would happen is, after the product was cut and divvied up into baggies and stuff, they would have somebody come by and receive the product. And then they would leave and go do whatever they did with it. I didn't get to see that side of the operation. And I remember one night she wanted to go to Radio Shack. I couldn't figure out why she wanted to go to Radio Shack. And at the time, Radio Shack had these cheap monitor and camera systems. And she wanted to actually take that monitor and camera system and set it up in her bedroom. And setting it up in her bedroom would allow her to, I'm trying to get off this side of the road if this car back here would pass me. There's thumping going on. Setting the camera up in her bedroom would allow her to record herself with other men. That was her whole purpose. She didn't want a security camera for the house. She wanted a security camera so she can record herself sleeping with other men. And there were many nights, you know, as a kid waking up, I'd get up to go to the bathroom, and one of the spare bedrooms where the monitor was at, the cameras would be in her room with the wires running underneath the floor, and back up the entertainment system. She turned the living room into her bedroom, and then she basically took mirrors and put them all over the walls so she could watch herself do her thing with different men, and the camera could pick it up. And as a child, I mean, I walked in on this stuff I don't know how many times, and it was devastating to me. And at some point it started becoming normal, like okay, this must be normal, people do this kind of stuff, I guess. And I mean, I don't know how many men, I mean, I can't even count, hundreds. Sometimes I'd accidentally walk in on it, and it was disgusting, you know. It was that's disgusting, and in my opinion and my beliefs and stuff, for a person to be that into just giving themselves so loosely to every man that they can come across just to make a video just for instant gratification, it is disgusting. And you never know what you're going to get from somebody when that kind of stuff happens, not respecting yourself, not taking care of your temple, and just picking just any random person that you can find at a bar. And just some of these guys, freaking some of these guys look like they were pulled out of a sewer. Nasty. So I don't know, I kind of got used to seeing it all the time, and it became the norm. And sometimes she would do it when the old man wasn't home. Sometimes the old man would be home watching it happen, like he was enjoying it. You know, now that I'm 32 years old, I realize that there are people that are into that kind of stuff. Whatever, to each their own. I ain't for it. I don't like it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And it's just that. It's how I was raised. It's, you know, how I raised myself, I should say, after all this. And it's just my morals. I try to live a pretty normal life. I try to make it exciting at times, but I ain't into nothing like that. And it didn't start getting crazy with the abuse and stuff until I was about 10 years old, 11 years old. And by that time, she had a couple kids, but my uncle, they're really nothing to talk about, honestly, because they never really got in trouble for anything. They didn't have to go through the stuff that I went through. They didn't have to clean up the house and take out the garbage and give the babies baths and fix formula and stuff like that. And she ended up having 2 kids by that old man. And when she had the first kid, she was keeping me home from school a lot to help take care of Jason. But when she had the second kid, she couldn't do it. She couldn't take care of the babies by herself, plus go out and do all the stuff that she wanted to do. So what she ended up doing is she took me out of school, and she lied. And I think this was about 10, 11 years old. She lied to the school about my dad's coming to get me, and I've been giving her problems, and he's going to take me to Michigan so I can go to school there, and he can straighten me out. And the school bought it. But instead of doing their job like they should have, and actually looking for the next school so they could transfer records and stuff to make sure everything was legit, they let it slip. They didn't do nothing. They didn't check up on it. They didn't make sure she was telling the truth. They just let it slip. And that's the school system we have now. Daniel Boone Elementary School. Daniel Boone Elementary School. They failed this. And I tried to talk to people since then, with them kind of giving me the cold shoulder, and I think what happened was they knew they were wrong for doing it, and they don't want to answer for it. Anyhow, so I got pulled out of school, and I stayed home, watched the kids, did the laundry, did everything at the house. At this point, she did not do nothing as a parent. I did everything. There was nothing that she didn't do. I cleaned, I cooked, I washed the clothes, I paid the bills, I went and did the grocery shopping. They would leave me money and instructions to do all that. But at this point, she didn't do anything anymore. She was not a mom at all. All she was there for was to show her face, sleep, eat food, and go back out and share her backside with every guy in town. So yeah, it was kind of rough. It was kind of rough. And when I start my next chapter, I'll tell you guys about an incident that I had to go through with taking food stamps and going and buying cigarettes with it. As a 10-year-old trying to figure out how you're going to buy cigarettes and convince somebody that they should sell it to you with not even having cash. Food stamps, that was quite interesting. I'll share that next time when I do my part 4. I appreciate your support, guys, and thanks for listening to my story. It helps me heal, and I hope to shed some light on what goes on out there in the sadistic minds that adults have and what they do to children without people knowing behind closed doors. Alright guys, thank you.